Alright guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, you're going to watch a fully grown man talk about his recent video game pickup. I'm a massive enjoyer towards physical video games. There is quite literally nothing better on planet Earth than going down to the store, picking out a brand new game, being able to physically hold it, see it, smell it, and taste it. This was previously pre-owned. I really hope there's no disease on it. It ruins me that in the next decade, physical video game media is probably not going to be a thing. I've been trying to collect for specifically PlayStation 4 since about 2016, 2017. My collection addiction sort of slowed down in 2020 when the PlayStation 5 came out, as I've sort of more so been buying games for that. But the PS4 Collection addiction kick-started again about 2 to 3 months ago. I thought, well, considering that we're about halfway through the PS5 gen, that means in the next coming years, PlayStation 4 games will likely start to be discontinued. And looking at some of the games that released around the beginning of the PlayStation 4's life cycle, they're going to start to become hard to find, or they'll become super expensive. In the past few months, I've purchased about 43 PlayStation 4 games, whether it be from pre-owned marketplaces, friends that just don't want their games anymore, or region-exclusive games that only ever got a physical release in that region, like Japan or Asia. Play Asia are great for this. I can guarantee that in this haul, there is probably going to be some games that you've either never heard of, or you had no idea there was a physical release for. Odin Sphere Razor. So this is a remaster of one of Atlus's very early PlayStation 2 action RPGs. It's a 2D side-scrolling action RPG, but it is considered a hidden gem of the PlayStation 2 catalog from Atlus. And considering that I've never played this before and people recommend this to ARPG enjoyers, I decided to pick this bad boy up. I had no idea it even existed, a remaster for this game, so here it is. Medieval. This is the remake of the very first game. I didn't actually play a lot of Medieval growing up. I played it a little bit, my friends did have it. But I wouldn't exactly consider myself to be an OG Medieval enjoyer. However, I'm big on PlayStation's OG catalog, and I just never got around to actually picking this up, so I thought, why not? You can find this super cheap. It's about time. The GTA trilogy. I thought it would be kind of cool to have the physical of this. I ended up purchasing this when it came out digitally, but I thought it would just be cool to get the physical. It is the first 3 Grand Theft Autos from the PlayStation 2 era. Obviously remastered, remade. I still think the OGs are better, and the game was in a bit of a sorry state when it released. This is basically, for people that don't know, the mobile versions of the original Grand Theft Auto game, just with some extra coat of paint slapped on top. However, through updates since the game's launch, it has improved a little bit, but the OGs are still the best way to be able to experience the original GTA. The sad thing is, the original PlayStation 2 versions of the game that were available on the PlayStation Store unfortunately got removed for the definitive edition to take their place. So that really does suck, but cool to know that there is a physical for this. World of Horror. So, this is probably a game that you guys have never heard of before. This is a Japanese game, as you guys can clearly see. This is a horror roguelike RPG with 1-bit graphics. I picked this up because it's super obscure, and I do like to collect some obscure physicals where I can find them. It also has some, like, heavy Junji Ito vibes to it. From what I know, Playism, the guys that published this game, ended up making an English physical for Switch, but in terms of a PlayStation physical, you can only get it in Japan. Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. I am a big Digimon fan. Grew up playing the games, the Digimon World games, fantastic. Even the DS games, Go Hard, Dawn, and Dusk. Some of you guys might find this surprising too, because these are turn-based RPGs, and the only turn-based RPGs that I've been able to actually enjoy are the Digimon ones. I wouldn't say the Digimon games are fantastic. It's been a long time since they've been regarded as incredible video games. However, I did play Cyber Sleuth when it came out on PS Vita, and I absolutely loved it. I had no idea there was a PlayStation 4 physical version of this. I knew it was digitally available, but I found this for super cheap, and you can also find the sequel to this lying around super cheap as well. Never played this, so I'm looking forward to diving back into these. I also have Digimon Survive, so the only one I'm missing at this point for PlayStation 4 would be Last World Order. Dead Rising 2 and Dead Rising 4. So I've owned the physical for Dead Rising HD for many years now, and I ended up missing out on picking up Dead Rising 2 when that also dropped around the same time. I've been looking for this for ages, and I eventually found it. It is a brand new copy, but I did manage to get it pretty cheap. This is the American version, as you can see there. The first game is still to this day the best Dead Rising game, by the way, and it's exciting to know that we're getting the remakey remaster in September. But number 2 still goes hard. I couldn't end up bringing myself to play through number 3, I just didn't enjoy it. And it's a little bit of the same situation with Dead Rising 4. This game isn't really that great. The Blob 2. This is a really interesting game. I do have the first one, and I've been meaning to pick up the second one. Again, found it really cheap. It's an interesting platformer that back in the day originally was only released for Wii. I don't know about the second one, but I know at least for the first one, originally it was only on Wii. So yeah, it's a platformer, but the idea of the game is you're a blob that can soak up ink, and you have to color the city because the baddies have soaked up all of the color of the city, and it's your job to refill the city and the world with color. I think it's a super unique idea, and I've never played the second game, so excited to jump into this at some point. Some Star Wars remasters. We've got Jedi Knight 1 and 2, as well as Star Wars Racer and Commander Combo. I hate it. I hate it when GameStop, or known in my country, EB Games, sends you a physical without the sleeve. Because the thing is, ordering online, they don't actually tell you if the copy you're going to be getting sent has the sleeve or not. They just say there's a chance it might not come with the complete sleeve. Damn it, I hate it. Ever since going through Jedi Survivor, I've been fiending more Star Wars games, and the PlayStation 2 era of Star Wars was poppin'. There was a lot of Star Wars games that came out during that era, and it's great to know that a lot of them have been remastered. Forgive Me Father. So this is an indie game. It's a first-person shooter roguelike type of thing with a H.P. Lovecraft type of inspired theme going on. The art direction of this game, like the graphics, are insanely cool. I believe a lot of the game is hand-drawn. Just a really niche, unique looking title, and it's cool to know that there is a physical for this. Days Gone. So this would be the second time I have purchased this game. Unfortunately, I ended up losing it at some point upon shifting house. I think it came out in 2018 or something. This game gets a really bad rap, and I think it released during a time where we were sort of oversaturated with open world titles. This was meant to be a big PlayStation heavy hitter from Ben Studio, and it just didn't perform to what I think PlayStation were hoping it would perform to. There was even a sequel that was in development that then got cancelled due to the first game not doing that great. But here's the thing, you can find this game super cheap nowadays. Please, if you haven't, give this game a go. It's super good. Since me losing it back in like 2019, 2018, whenever I did, I've been craving to play this again. I've wanted it in my collection. I finally found it for like 20 bucks. It's a must play, absolutely. Do not listen to the negativity, steer towards this game, especially because you can find it super cheap now. Yakuza 0! So I've been meaning to throw myself into the Yakuza series for a while. Funny story, I ended up purchasing literally all of the Yakuza games at the beginning of this year. I dropped like $800 on the entire series in one hit. I've only ever owned Yakuza Kiwami, which I think is the remakey remaster of the very first game. PlayAsia were taking way too long to get the order out because they had to wait to get stock in for like this game, that game, this, anyway. They were just taking too long, and I refunded the order. I actually have 2 other Yakuza games that are currently on their way, which would be 6 as well as Kiwami 2. I've heard though that 0 is the best one. This is the game you start with, so I'm glad I've now got it. I can finally chuck myself into Yakuza. Neo, the world ends with you! So obviously you guys know that I love TWEWY. TWEWY is an awesome video game series that only has 2 installments. It was wild to see that we even got a sequel to the first game, but we do, it exists. Whether or not we will see a continuation of this series is sort of up in the air because sales for this game didn't do all too well. Yes, I do own this game, but only digitally. I never ended up picking up the physical, and I had to import this, as you can see, the American copy, because I could not find a copy in my country anywhere. Dishonored Death of an Outsider and Dishonored 2. I've been wanting to chuck myself into the Dishonored series, as I've heard that it is some of Arcane's best works. I've owned the first game for a long time, but I've only ever put in like an hour or something into it. I never really gave it a good shot, and I thought, well, because these games are cheap, I found these for like $10 each. let's just pick them up, and that way I've got all of them.
Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2.
So another case here of the case not being here. What a case to be part of. The fucking case isn't here. Damn it! I want to expose myself more to Dragon Quest. I own Dragon Quest Heroes, which is the Warriors' take on Dragon Quest, as well as Dragon Quest 11. Although I own those games, I've never played them. So I'm just adding to that to-be-played Dragon Quest list with Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. Heard great things about it. It's like an RPG Dragon Quest version of Minecraft, and the reviews for both of these games are phenomenal. Super Monkey Ball
Banana Mania!
I'll tell you, the confusion around purchasing this was crazy, because I also know that there's like 2 other Monkey Ball games that have come out for PlayStation 4. Banana Blitz or something like that, and I think there might be another one. And because the box arts of the other Monkey Ball games and this one all look so similar, I'm like, alright, what's the one that the people were actually happy with? Which is like just a remake of the first 3 games, I believe. Oh, it's Banana Mania. This game is like in a genre of its own. I don't even know what to classify this as. Like, it's arcade, but I don't even know what it is. It's sort of like Marble Blast, but it's not really like Marble Blast. It's Super Monkey Ball. 13 Sentinels. Aegis Rim. People rave and rave and rave about this game. I don't know why I've always been curious about 13 Sentinels. I mean, it's obviously the reception and people being like, this is a masterpiece. Because this is a turn-based tactical RPG, sort of strategy-based, and like generally speaking, I'm not into those kinds of games. But I have heard that the story that's in this is super cool. And the actual combat system, as much as it is tactical, turn-based, etc., is incredibly unique. Ion Fury. So this is an indie-based boomer shooter. I do enjoy myself a boomer shooter. Growing up with the original Doom games will do that to you. Quite a few of these types of games have popped up over the past like 8 to 10 years, and it's great to see that this has become a genre in itself. The problem though is, a lot of these don't do too well. Like performance-wise, sales-wise, they just don't. Ion Fury though has received a lot of good reviews, so I'm gonna give it a chance. I think it's also just a niche, unique physical to own. So, Ion Fury. The Crysis Remaster Trilogy. No one told me this was a thing. I had no idea this existed. I walked into EB Games about a month and a half ago, saw this on the shelf, and was like, oh, this exists. I also found out that this is available on Nintendo Switch, which is insane because Crysis 1 used to be a running meme of if your computer can play it, well clearly you own a NASA space computer. But yeah, it's the first 3 games. I played all of them back in the day on PlayStation 3, aside from the first game. The first game here I tried desperately to run on a very old Windows XP Intel i2, something that was really terrible that even struggled to play RuneScape. The wonderful 101 Remastered. Here is the physical, and I was very lucky to find this because this is something that you just do not come across. I believe there were only so many copies that were made for this. Like, I'm sure there's still a lot of copies. I don't think it's like a limited 5,000 run type of thing or anything like that, but still, there's probably not too many in the grand scheme of things out there. It's a Platinum Games title, one of their early titles that I've wanted to play for an incredibly long time. This released as a Wii U exclusive. I don't know exactly when this got a remaster. I think it's quite some time ago now, like maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago or something like that. But a very niche Platinum Games title that I'm happy got a remaster because now I can like crack it open. Boom, here's the disc. Look at that disc. That's a beautiful disc. Bloodstained
Ritual of the Night.
It's a Metroidvania, Castlevania-inspired game. That's actually really good. I have played this. I haven't finished it. I've always wanted to own a physical. I do own it on PC, but I don't own it on console. Now I own it on console, and I'm a happy boy. Ziggurat. I don't even know what this is. It's some first-person dungeon crawling thing. One of the people that I bought some of the other games from had this also lying in their catalog there for like $10, and I'm like, that looks interesting. I searched it up. The reviews for it are pretty good, so Ziggurat, The Eternal Cylinder. I don't know why I got this. Again, it's another really niche, obscure looking title. It is an indie title, but for some reason it reminded me a lot of Spore. You guys remember Spore?
The Last Guardian!
Can you believe that I have never played this, which is insane? I love Shadow of the Colossus, I love Ico, but I haven't played Japan Studios' last entry into that universe, which is The Last Guardian. People waited a long time for this game, and I don't think everyone was too satisfied with this game when it came out, because I was going to get it when the game came out, but then people were like, okay, we waited all these years for this? I think the game has aged well, though. I think after a while, people kind of warmed up to it and thought to themselves, alright, it's actually pretty good. It's still, you know, it's got that Team Ico kind of touch to it. It's good. I don't know if it's a case of them trying to convince themselves and they are living in denial. However, James ended up selling me his copy of this, so I'm happy to actually have it in my collection. Yeast 8. I don't know how to pronounce this. This YS. Is it yeast or yeast? Or is it yeast? Let's just call it Yeast. Yeast 8. So people have been recommending me the Yeast series for a long time, given that I'm an action RPG fanatic. Apparently, the 8th installment here is one of the best, if not the best, though it is a long-running series, so, you know, you're gonna have some people being like, nah, man, the second game, whew, it doesn't get better than that.
What are you talking about? The third game slaps, and it slaps hard. Nah, man, you gotta play the spin-off title, Origin of the Banana Biscuit. Banana Biscuits suck, dude. You gotta play number 6, Return of the Eternal Nipple.
I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. It's like Kingdom Hearts. Some people are gonna be like, BBS is good, DDD's good, whatever it is. However, I feel like this is probably a good starting point for my first tippy toe into the Yeast series, so looking forward to trying it out. Katamari Damacy Reroll. Can you believe it? I played a lot of this back in the day, Katamari Damacy, and I have not since returned since playing it on PlayStation 2. It's basically just a remaster of Katamari Damacy. I believe there is a new version now for PlayStation 5. I don't know if it's the same game remastered with additional content, but I will eventually get that. Katamari Damacy, though, is fantastic. A very niche title. I had to import this because I couldn't find a copy of this in my country. Don't even know if it came to my country, so this is the American copy.
Little Nightmares.
Another game that I've heard many good things about that I've been meaning to check out for many years now. I've actually got the second game on its way. I want to have all of them, and there's even a third game that is currently in development. So I thought, well, you know, if there's a third game coming, it must be good. People dribble over this, let's pick it up. Frogun Deluxe Edition. That is a girl using a frog as a gun. An indie title that ended up getting a physical release, which is cool. This is actually the European copy because I don't believe the physical was ever released in my country. I love the low poly sort of PlayStation 1 graphics this game has. I've seen this a lot over on Twitter because I follow a lot of different indie pages, and people have said that this game is really cool, harkens back to classic platformers. Found the physical. This wasn't cheap though, but I decided to kind of just jump for it anyway. It's probably the second most expensive game here in the haul that I got. Oninaki. So this is a 2019 Square Enix title, and I was a little bit confused when I came across this on the website that is basically the New Zealand equivalent of eBay, Trade Me, because I had never seen this game before, and I was like, okay, it's a Square Enix title, I should know about it. I don't know about it. What is this? So I looked into it, and this is the third and final game that came from the Tokyo RPG Factory. These guys are known for Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna. Those two games are turn-based RPGs. I do plan to get them at some point because you can find them pretty cheap, but Oninaki is a little bit different. It is an action RPG. This, though, is harder to find than Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna, so I thought I absolutely have to pick this up because, again, I've never heard of this. Gravity Rush Remastered. So, this game originally came out for PlayStation Vita back in 2012. This is a fantastic game, by the way, as well as its sequel. I do own the sequel. I've been meaning to pick up the PlayStation 4 remaster of the game for a long time now. I should have done it a long time ago because this was the most expensive game out of the hall. It's really hard to find copies of this, and when you do, they're generally really expensive, which is really annoying. But I thought, you know what? I've been meaning to get this for a while. Let's do it. Gravity Rush, though, is fantastic. You can get it on the PlayStation Store for pretty cheap. Please do yourself a favor and check it out. A super unique title. It was developed by Japan Studio, which was unfortunately shut down by Sony. Most of the studio was absorbed into Team Asobi, which we know are currently developing Astrobot, due to release next month. Yeah, so this is one of their best titles that they came out with. Trust me on that. Please do yourself a favor. Play Gravity Rush. .hack GU. Last recap. An MMO-themed action RPG that was developed by CyberConnect 2 for the PlayStation 2. There was a lot of games released for this back during the PlayStation 2 era. It's a pretty long-running series. I believe there is also an anime adaptation to this. Not much happens in the .hack the slashes and stuff f me up. But there's not much going on with this series nowadays, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's got a bit of a cult following. People have recommended me this a lot because I'm so into Kingdom Hearts. Some people find some similarities between this and Kingdom Hearts. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. So the remaster of the first 3 games came out a little while back, and with it, a physical release. Here's the thing though, the physical release only ever released over in Asia. Here's the thing though, it contains the full English version with like English text on the back and stuff. It's kind of insane. They just only released the physical over in Asia, so I thought this is absolutely a must pick up. Ninja Gaiden is one of the greatest hack and slash titles of all time. I stand by that. Up there with like Devil May Cry and stuff. Fantastic to know that the trilogy got a remaster. I have heard though that the Sigma version here of the first game is the unsuperior version to that of the black version. That there is the superior one. So it's interesting they didn't include black, they just included Sigma. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water. So yeah, this got a physical release. These came out a little while back. These are remasters for modern systems of the Wii U exclusive Fatal Frame games. There is also Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which I will eventually pick up, but I've never played any of the Fatal Frame games. And it's a series that began back during the PlayStation 2, I believe, that has a lot of entries. It would be nice to get those original PlayStation 2 versions also remastered, so interesting they decided to go for the Wii U versions here, but that being said, cool to know that there is a physical, just really strange that it only ever came out in Asia. Onimusha, yet another situation of this only getting a physical release over in Asia. This one here though, I actually found on my country's version of eBay, which was interesting. It's always interesting to see other people selling region exclusive games on that. I got it for actually a really good price considering this is so hard to find. I have already played the remaster, I put it on the PlayStation Store, so I was kind of stunned when I came across the physical here. This didn't sell well at all. I kind of feel like Onimusha is hard to sell to modern gaming audiences. Unless you grew up with this game, I can't imagine anyone being like, wow, this is a good time, man. Because, yeah, the game certainly does show its age. Capcom basically took the setup of the OG Resident Evil games of the fixed camera position and chucked it into a samurai-type setup. It's actually really cool, though, but I don't think we'll see any more of Onimusha unless they just completely reboot it with a whole new type of gameplay concept. Hades! Everyone knows Hades, and I got this really cheap. Which is good. It's a fantastic roguelike. I don't really know what more to say other than look at the shiny case. That's that like kind of Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, PlayStation 2 case goodness right there. Tai, the Tasmanian Tiger. You're a real one if you grew up with this on the PlayStation or Xbox. And really cool to know that Chrome made a physical for the HD remaster. Though I am cut that they didn't release a PlayStation 4 version of Tai 2 Bush Rescue. There is one that exists for Switch though, so there is a Switch physical of Tai 2, but Tai 1 is the only one you can get physically for PlayStation 4. I wouldn't say this is an amazing platformer, but it certainly is one of those charmful ones that released during the PlayStation 2 era. I grew up with this, so it's really cool that there is a physical of it. Proteus, another boomer shooter type of setup. Again, inspired by the old school first-person shooters like Quake and Doom. Similar to Ion Fury, this is another one that has received some pretty good reception, so I thought, well, it's cheap, let's pick it up. I actually got this brand new for $5. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. I'm not really into farming sim type of things. The only one that I've really ever enjoyed is of course Stardew Valley, which I'm actively trying to find a physical for. This is that type of thing, though it's also a sort of action RPG infused into the whole farming sim thing. So I thought it would be interesting. Very good reviews for this online. And again, I found it cheap, so I thought, why not? And lastly is Dredge by Team 17 and Black Salt Games. I remember seeing this last year at, I believe, Summer Games Fest or something. It was part of one of the highlight reels, and I thought it looked really interesting. It is super highly regarded. Like, the reviews for this are incredibly good. It's a sort of survival fishing game type of thing where you go out, fish, you can upgrade your boat, upgrade your equipment and whatnot. It looks really cool, and the art style on it's super unique. I'm trying to throw myself into more indie games, as indie games are a huge chunk of the gaming industry and games that are currently releasing nowadays. So guys, that is my 43 PlayStation game haul. A lot of games that I'm probably never gonna have time for. However though, if I can dedicate a platinum video to one of these, it means that I will be able to play through them. There are some here that I am planning on doing platinum videos for eventually. Let me know in the comment section down below, do I have some good pickups here? Is some of this some straight up heat, or is this just some straight up garbage? Have I completely wasted my money? I'll let you guys be the judge. And also, if you guys have any recommendations at all, a game that you super love that is maybe considered niche or obscure that does have a physical, please do let me know. I'm looking at expanding my PS4 physical collection. However guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to subscribe. Also check out my other social media platforms, links below. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons. I appreciate the support. I hope each and every one of you are having a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon.